All right. Good evening, everybody. It's Meteorologist Alex Carter with you in the Fox 54 Digital Weather Center. Another edition of Weather Aware Live, and we have lots to get to, obviously breaking down the chances of some possible wintry weather here in the CSRA from 5 a.m. to about 1 p.m. Sunday. And again, it's not looking like it's a very impressive event. In fact, it's not looking good at all if you're a snow fan. I'm not saying it's impossible, but temperatures are going to have a very, very difficult time falling below freezing on Sunday. And, even to freezing, that 32 to 34 degree mark where you can start to see that evaporative cooling playing in advantage. That's even going to be hard to come by for most of us. So not trying to ruin the hopes just yet, but this is looking like a lower impact event here in our area, that's for certain. So we're going to let a few of y'all filter in for just a moment, and while y'all filter in, again, we'll be monitoring that chance of winter weather and talking about more of Saturday's forecast too. So again, any questions, I can see those here on our software. So if you have a question about the forecast, please fire away. We'll answer it as best as we can, starting to get more confidence in kind of what we're looking at with the structure of this winter-like system that's going to be moving in. So again, good evening. Thanks for joining us. And any questions that you might have, fire away and let us know. Let's go ahead and start us out with looking at just the weekend as a whole. And here it is. This is Saturday. Mild, some spotty light rain. Not going to be much to this on Saturday. The clouds will be there, but the main component is the high temperature on Saturday. Saturday hits 60. Okay, that's pretty warm for this time of year. And then we get to Sunday, and there's that chance of wintry mix in our area. So again, the wintry mix potential looks to be south of I-20. That looks to be the highest opportunity for that. So here's what we're looking at for Sunday into Monday morning. Sunday morning from 5 a.m. to about 1 in the afternoon, that's when the changeover from rain to snow is going to be the most likely. 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. What is that? We're expecting that. And we're expecting that at this point. What is possible is some light snowfall accumulations. We'll show you where in just a moment. So some light snowfall accumulations are possible, mainly south of I-20. And what's possible, but again, not going to be a whole big issue about this on MLK Day morning is going to be some areas of black ice Monday. So again, just make sure to use some caution on the roadways. I'm not expecting widespread travel issues. I do want to emphasize that. And the big reason why is all thanks to this area of low pressure that's in the Gulf. Looks like it's going to be headed offshore, and it's a weaker track. So with this European model run, we've been seeing that the low would be going more offshore. That drags all of the moisture a little bit further towards the coast and away from us. And that's why we're expecting it to be a fine, narrow line between some wintry weather and just a cold rain to nothing at all for parts of the CSRA. So let's go and show you the Euro and the GFS snowfall totals. And again, these are showing you a trend. I don't want you to get caught up as much in what we're seeing when it comes to snow for everybody on both of these models. Okay, for this Sunday, by the way, I don't want you to get caught up in that. This is showing you a trend. Higher totals to the south, lower totals to the north. And the European and the GFS models are not very certain as to what shakes out as to how far south there's no snow and how far north there is snow. Let's go ahead and show you the accumulation possibilities. Now, this is going all the way through Sunday. Look at that, okay? This is Sunday at 2 o'clock. All those accumulations primarily are expected to be in South Georgia and towards the coast. There's only a few areas in the CSRA where our in-house model is showing you that potential for some snow, and that would be Allendale, maybe even Bamberg counties, Screven County, Jenkins County, Swainsboro, and Emmanuel County. These are areas where we could see some higher end totals if we get snow further to the north. But again, the highest chances of accumulating snowfall are south of I-20. It's not looking very good when it comes to this. Let's break this down very logically here. Think with me through this for Sunday morning and Sunday afternoon. Sunday morning, we have a rain-snow mix. Now, again, You see the rain and the snow mixing on that imagery. Look at the temperatures. Look at the temperatures on this, okay? We're seeing a bunch of 30s, but 32 is the freezing point. 38 in Sylvania, 37 in Augusta, 38 in Aiken, 34 in McCormick, and then we go to 32 in Washington, and you see where the moisture's at. The moisture is not where the freezing temperatures are, so we're a little bit displaced. Just because, and I want to emphasize this, I'm going to put myself back on camera, just because flakes are falling from the sky, which a lot of us could very easily see on Sunday morning, that does not mean that we are going to see them stick. Temperatures have been above freezing since about 10 a.m. this morning. And for many areas, temperatures are not dropping below freezing, not even tomorrow morning, and we could see above freezing temperatures for about 48 straight hours, if not longer. That bodes well for a warming ground temperature, warmer road temperatures, and so the sticking threat is very low with this system, okay? We're not expecting widespread snow to stick and accumulate on the ground. I do think we could see some snow showers, and not a lot of it sticks, and the snowfall rates are going to be lower, so it's not going to be able to overcome the warmer ground temperatures. So that's why I think this is a very minor event for the CSRA. Sunday afternoon, another big piece to this puzzle. It's going to be sunny and in the low 40s. Anything above freezing starts to melt that, any accumulations that would happen. So Sunday with the sunshine and the warm above freezing temperatures, that's going to help lighten the load a little bit. And that's going to help melt some of this off even Sunday afternoon. What little doesn't melt off Sunday afternoon will refreeze Sunday night and Monday morning, and that's when we have the potential for a few slick spots, some areas of black ice Sunday night into Monday morning. That looks to be patchy, very isolated. Usually the areas that we have to watch that for are on the area bridges. So the bridges would be the spots to watch, especially on Sunday night and Monday morning. Now let's break this down a little bit further. I'm going to go and take myself off again. And you see the furthest we've extended that chance of seeing snow, the white stuff. That looks to be anywhere from Gibson, Hepzibah, New Ellington, and points to the north. Here we go. I'm seeing some comments now, so thank you guys for tuning in on that. Ursula, I do hear you there. That's a bummer. Some snow fans, you're not going to be very impressed with this one. This is nothing like we saw back in January twice last year. I think we'll see a little bit, but we're not going to see a lot. And the Augusta Metro, it doesn't look very promising for you guys. Brian, I know, right? I don't think this is going to be the snow event we're all hoping for in our area. You know, if I'm wrong, we'll go back and look at this, right? But, Brian, I don't think this is going to be that. But a good snow event in the CSRA, this is not as favorable of a setup as what we dealt with in late January last year. Bradford, good question there. Bradford, if you're still watching, and Bradford asked, where would you say the greatest risk of black ice would be? I think the greatest risk of black ice is going to be south of I-20, and this is going to be where we still have a chance at some accumulations, because where we have the heaviest changeover from rain to snow, that's where we could have some heavier snowfall rates that could overcome the warmer ground and road temperatures. And then we get past sunset, and that's when we'd have the black ice potential. So south of I-20, we're talking Emmanuel, Jenkins, Screven, Allendale, Bamberg counties. But because we're going to have about, I would say, 3 to 4 hours of daylight and temperatures above freezing with a lot of sunshine, I think that is going to be the what kind of is the last straw for us. And I don't think we're going to see a lot of slick spots early in the morning. So Louis says, I got to go to work outside in this stuff. On Sunday, my friend, take care, stay warm. And again, accumulations are going to be very limited because of the warmth of the ground and the road temperatures. Brian, great question here. Where is the low pressure system setting up? So the low pressure system is setting up, this is going to be well down to the south. And, you know, that's a good question, Brian. We'll actually dive into it here. We'll show you the setup for this. So the low pressure is back towards the Gulf Coast, and that low is going to be moving away offshore of the Atlantic Ocean. And when that low moves further offshore instead of hugging the coast, it's going to drag a lot of that moisture with it. So we got a lot of dry air in place. We got a lot of cloud cover in place. The dry air doesn't allow that moisture to form into condensed water droplets that eventually freeze. And then on top of that, you've got a low pressure system that's dragging all of the moisture offshore. So it doesn't look very favorable, and the cloud cover is going to keep us warmer overnight Saturday, which limits us from getting to that freezing point. So that's what we're thinking right now when it comes to that. Coming from where the system's set up on Sunday. Yep. And let's see. For Laney, is there anything in the future? Laney, good question. You know, we're watching what could be a pretty big snow event in the Mid-South late next week. That doesn't look like we're expecting much from that at this time. You know, you always got to watch these low-pressure systems in the wintertime. Right now, I think that's going to stay to the north of us, and we get a cold rain next Thursday into Friday, so something we're watching there. Let's go ahead and go back to, Ryan. Good evening, Ryan. Ryan Dorn saying, let's see, do we have snow plows around here? You know, that's a good question. I don't know if we do, but somebody needs to figure that out because we could have used one last January, Ryan. Let's see. Okay. And Ryan also asked, why are these systems stop versus keep moving? So this system is going to actually be pretty much on a conveyor belt. There's a big upper level trough, Ryan, not to bore anybody here. But there's a big upper level trough, and it's going to be swinging through at a pretty good clip. And that's in the upper levels of the atmosphere. That's what's going to push this system away from us. And the speed of this is pretty fast. This cold front's actually a lot forward moving. It's not going to be stalling a lot, and that's what we've been seeing. You know, this system, it's not going to be putting on the brakes too much. It's actually going to be getting on out of here pretty quickly once we get into Sunday morning. That's also going to help us not have a lot of snow. Let's see, any more comments here? And, you know, I'm checking back and forth between two different pages, so pardon me while I check these. And Grace on the other page, Ryan, says, yes, we do have snow plows. And Ursula, yes, this is not time to buy all the milk and the bread, by the way. And this is definitely not the time for it. That's for sure. So, again, let's break down this timeline because I do want to emphasize this. The chance for the rain-snow changeover is going to happen Sunday from 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. All those temperatures you see there, most of them are above freezing, right? So where we do get the snowflakes falling down doesn't mean it's necessarily going to stick to the ground in every spot. Now, if temperatures are cooler than this, we have a problem on our hands, right? If temperatures are cooler than what is advertised in our in-house modeling, which I think is not going to be the case, I think we are going to be above freezing on Sunday, then we have a different problem on our hands. Sunday afternoon, we get all the sunshine, the temperature's above freezing, the low 40s, that starts that melting process, and whatever's left over could bring a few slick spots, especially on area bridges on Sunday. Let's go ahead and do a deeper dive of this. Again, the most northward extent of the snowfall looks to be along I-20 and areas south of I-20. I think that's as far north as the snow can go in this setup, where the moisture and the cold air meet, okay? So areas anywhere from Aiken, Augusta, point south. I think Augusta and Aiken are going to kind of be on the outside looking in of these accumulations, but I do think Augusta and Aiken have a chance of seeing snowflakes falling from the sky. So, you know, I want to make myself clear because I don't want you to see snowflakes falling from the sky and be like, well, it's snowing. Well, you said it wasn't going to be snowing. I just think the accumulations are going to be limited in Augusta and Aiken, but I do think we could see some snowflakes falling from the sky Sunday morning. So important to note that. I think accumulations are just going to be very minor in that scenario. So here's the best and the worst case scenarios for the snowfall totals. And again, we're accounting, just to be safe, the Augusta-Aiken area in the Augusta Metro, North Augusta, Martinez, Evans, Thompson, Hepzibah. Low end, we could see nada, zilch. The highest we could see is a dusting to 1/4 of an inch, and that's going to be Sunday morning. Then we get to areas like Louisville, Waynesboro, Barnwell, Bamberg. The lowest we could get is nothing to a dusting. And then the highest we could see is up to 1/2 an inch in those spots. Now let's take it to our southernmost counties, where, again, we're expecting that changeover to be more frequent. The lowest you can see, I think we are going to see some minor dusting accumulations at least in Swainsboro, Millen, Sylvania, and Allendale. On the higher end, I think these locations could see a half an inch to an inch of snow. So that's what we're looking at when it comes to those totals. Good evening, Bobby. Thanks for joining us there. And let's see. Viewing these and seeing if we got anything here. All right, Melody. Yep, there we go. Melody, let me know if I answer your question there about the potential snowfall, because here's the graphic that I have up. And Millen, I think, in the higher end scenario, they're going to see anywhere from a half an inch to an inch of snow. And again, that's on the higher end. That's in the upper echelon. Our in-house model wants to point to maybe a tenth of an inch in your area if you're living in Millen. So doesn't look very favorable right now. Good evening, Mary. Hello from Avra, Georgia. You're going to be right on that teetering edge. I think you're going to see some snowflakes falling, Mary. I don't think you're going to see necessarily widespread accumulations. Hey, Michael. Michael in Swainsboro, Melody and Millen, you guys have a much more active pattern than, I would say, 90% of the CSRA coming in on Sunday, and that's all thanks to the southern extent and the southern trend of this system. So if you guys are tuning in, good evening. And again, we're just going over those potential snowfall totals here in the CSRA. I think, again, we're going to be on the lower end of these totals simply because the moisture and the cold air don't necessarily line up thanks to the clouds that are rolling in. When it comes to travel impacts, accumulations mostly will melt on Sunday because we get sunshine and some low 40s in the afternoon. What doesn't melt Sunday, that could lead to some black ice potential Sunday night and Monday morning, but I think that's very isolated and patchy. I don't think that's a widespread problem. Let's go ahead and show you. This is tomorrow evening, okay? So tomorrow, again, partly cloudy skies and temperatures because of the cloud cover and the rain, might I add, are going to stay in that family of the 40s and low 50s. This is Sunday at 11 o'clock, right? So we are still well above freezing at this point. Take it into overnight, and look at all the cold rain. We need some rain, by the way. We're in a moderate drought, and so that rain not going to be widespread, half an inch to an inch totals. I think we could see some decent totals, though. And then here's the bigger feature to point out. Notice here, this is where we're watching for the changeover, right in this area, right around, say, Jefferson, Emmanuel County, starting up around 5 a.m., and then watch the changeover. The rest of the morning, these places, Barnwell, Waynesboro, Millen, Sylvania, Swainsboro, this is where you get that snow changeover. But a big key to the forecast, like we've been talking about, is look at these temperatures. 36 in Millen, 38 in Waynesboro, 39 in Barnwell, 38 in Sylvania, 35 in Swainsboro. These are places that are above freezing. So anything that's falling is going to have a hard time sticking unless that snowfall becomes a heavier intensity and is able to overcome the warmer ground and road temperatures. So again, we're still looking for more chances for that snow Sunday morning, but it's going to be tough for that to stick. Melody, glad I got that question answered for you. Michael, you're going to miss it. You're headed to Myrtle Beach. I think it's just a warm rain in those locations. I think it's just strictly a warm rain there. There's the rest of it Sunday morning. There's your potential snowfall. And again, it's our southern counties that have that opportunity of seeing some of those noticeable accumulations on the ground. Not as much our northern counties. But again, the Augusta Metro, we cannot rule out seeing a dusting, but doesn't look very likely at this point. And then here's the key to the forecast. Sunday afternoon, low to mid-40s, the sun's out, the melting process begins, and that looks to be the extent of it, okay? So travel impacts look very short-lived. I don't think that's going to be a major issue on Sunday. Your 7-day forecast, looking at that real quick. Again, the black ice possible in a few spots, especially Bridges Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Looking at a slight warming trend once we get to Wednesday afternoon, highs in the mid-50s. But the mornings are just going to be bitter cold. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday with low 20s expected all 3 of those days. Thursday and Friday of next week, looking at our next weather maker, could see some showers with that with temperatures in the 50s. So overall, we got a lot going on. And again, I do want to bring to your attention where we're going to be streaming coverage. And this is going to be Sunday morning. So I'm going to be here tracking some of this wintry mix as it starts to change over anytime from 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. Sunday. So we're going to be tracking that wintry mix potential and seeing what it holds when it comes to those temperatures. Hopefully, if you're a fan of no snow and you don't want any of those issues, hopefully it's just cold rain and it stays that way. Very easily could be that way. I'm telling you. Don't doubt that by any means. But we're going to be streaming here on Weather Aware Live Sunday morning. If you're looking to track that snow potential, we'll be live streaming it. And it's here on Weather Aware Live, Facebook. Be on the lookout anytime around, say, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. That window, as the wintry mix moves through, we'll be streaming. And you can find that here on Facebook. You can also find it on the Fox 54 YouTube page. However you like to stream and cover and get that weather coverage. And we're also going to be doing occasional cut-ins and just weather updates on Fox 54 TV by the hour. So be expecting that also. Those are ways you can get your weather info. We'll be streaming all of this here on Facebook on Sunday morning as well. We're going to do a digital update, a couple of those. You'll see a couple updates through the day tomorrow on Saturday, so be on the lookout for that. And, of course, we'll be here on Sunday morning as well. Any of those questions, keep dropping them, and I'm looking through some of those now. Patricia says, no snow, please, and thank you. Brian asked, what are some possibilities that could change the forecast for the heavier snow? I don't think there's going to be much of a change in that forecast. If the low were to move further north from the Gulf and further inland and hug the coastline, and it kept on that path, Brian, I think we would see a lot heavier of a snow in our area. Just doesn't look very likely for now. Other than that, that looks to be the case here for the foreseeable future. So our winter weather threat, much considerably less impactful than it was last January, that's for sure. All right, Danny, good evening. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, guys, we're going to let you go here and hope you guys have an awesome weekend. Stay safe. Of course, stay warm. It's going to be cold, and we'll monitor that chance for some wintry mix and snowflakes falling from the sky, of course, on Sunday morning. Latest updates to come tonight as well, more data, and we'll monitor that data trend on Fox 54 News at 10 and 11. We have a basketball game, Kansas-Baylor. That's going to keep us a little bit later tonight. We'll be on after the game. Join us then. More updates to come, and you'll want to join here for that live coverage on Sunday morning. Stay safe. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon.